A desperate hand reaches toward a brilliant light as he awakens to an unfamiliar ceiling. The legendary dream of fantasy reincarnation has finally become a reality. This elite gamer spent his entire life typing away to analyze every detail of his favorite novel. Writing thousands of words daily, he memorized complex relationship charts and world lore. Every hidden piece and legendary artifact location was catalogued in his brilliant mind. His obsessive reviews drove the creator to quit and got him banned from every community. Yet his absolute madness triggers a miracle that drags him into the story itself. He now stands as a resident of a quiet medieval village. Reborn as a 5-year-old child, he immediately decides to check his system stats. With epic dramatic flair, he proudly commands his status window to open. A long awkward silence fills the room as absolutely nothing happens. Realizing there is no cheat system, he remains completely unbothered because his memories are his greatest weapon. In his very first week of possession, the ambitious boy decides to lay down the foundation of his future empire. Renamed as Ivan, he discovers his parents are illiterate peasants who do not even know the name of their own nation. His grand plan to invent soap backfires in a massive explosion that earns him a painful spanking from his mother. 6 weeks into his new life, the young boy spots a drifting newspaper while running basic errands in the village. Seeing printed text makes him realize this advanced civilization is far beyond the primitive era he expected. Months pass before he finally uncovers the true name of this realm and the sovereign ruler who commands it. He instantly burns his entire list of candidate novels as the shocking truth of his destination finally sinks in. Stranded in a completely foreign nation, Ivan desperately tries to determine what kind of genre he has possessed. His 4th year of possession brings a terrifying realization as dark monstrous forces cast a shadow over the land. Cruel conscription officers shatter the peace of their quiet village by dragging his father away to the war front. This traumatic parting triggers a chilling change within the young boy as his sense of self begins to warp. Entering his 6th year of this new life, he works tirelessly beside his mother to master the local manual labor. By age 12, he spends his precious free hours studying the complex written characters of this fantasy world. Tragedy strikes at age 14 when a delayed official document reveals his father died 2 long years ago. Ivan tries to make sense of this chaotic world filled with magic and advanced technology. The heartbreaking sound of crying interrupts his thoughts as his mother collapses in pure grief. Determined to protect the only family he has left, the brave youth decides to enlist the very next day. He signs away his freedom and sends every single one of his 15 copper coins directly back home. Deep guilt over stealing this body drives him to support the grieving woman at any cost. 4 years of brutal military service reveal his shocking natural talent for the art of combat. Achieving legendary feats on the bloody battlefield, he quickly rises from a lowly conscript to a regular soldier. But as the front lines collapse in a sea of flames, a legendary hero suddenly descends upon the war zone. Ivan finally realizes he is trapped inside a classic RPG hero fantasy story. Yet the hope of the legendary heroes does not save his own front line from savage monster attacks. Decades pass in brutal warfare before the heroes finally push back the Dark Army. Thanks to his incredible achievements, Ivan earns the honor of fighting alongside the legendary champions. He joins a ruthless Black Ops unit tasked with erasing every surviving monster in the shadows. For 2 grueling years, Ivan acts as a human weapon to clean up the chaotic aftermath of battle. By his 30th year, the Grand War finally ends when the hero party slays the Demon King. Dressed in his formal uniform, Ivan calmly waits for his ticket out of this world as the crowd cheers. But even 2 years after the final victory, absolutely nothing happens and the game refuses to end. The ruthless extermination unit is quickly whittled down to a mere fraction of its original size. Recognizing that the High Command wants them gone, Ivan accepts one final suicide mission. He officially requests his discharge, hoping this endless epilogue will finally draw to a close. By his 34th year and a decade after his mother passed, he returns home only to find himself completely alone. Seeking a new purpose, the veteran establishes an orphanage near the capital to care for innocent victims of the war. Yet even as the laughter of children fills St. Basilisa Orphanage, the elusive ending credits never appear. Sitting in his quiet study, Ivan writes down his deep longing for the gaming community he left behind. 4 years have passed since the Demon King fell, leaving him to wonder if he is trapped here forever. Ivan sits quietly in his study when a sudden noise breaks the heavy silence. His legendary senses instantly decode the unique friction of leather and the scent of gunpowder. With lethal precision, the veteran soldier draws his weapon as the office door slowly creaks open. Instead of a deadly assassin, a familiar young junior in a military uniform cheerfully salutes his former captain. The stern captain refuses to let his guard down and coldly demands that the intruder knock before entering. Sheathing his axe, the weary veteran commands his unexpected guest to state his business without delay. Dmitri presents a sealed envelope sent directly from the imperial palace. Taking his seat, the guest urges the cautious retired fighter to quickly open the royal message. A dark premonition grips him because the legendary iron-blooded princess would never send a friendly greeting. Heavy tension fills the room as the messenger reveals that political chaos is tearing the military government apart. To make matters worse, the greedy crown prince is plotting to divide the entire nation into 5 pieces to sell it off. Map view showing political division while the monarch remains completely silent. Dmitri reveals that a prestigious academy was suddenly established right in the middle of this chaos. This legendary institution is known as St. Yansk University, and it has gathered some shocking new members. First is Isabel, the powerful daughter of the legendary hero Maximilian. Joining her are Oscar, the son of a great knight, and Elfahera, the daughter of an archmage. The lineup continues with the berserker Aricetus and the agile assassin disciple Lucia. To make things even more wild, the legendary saintess Patricia has joined them as a department head. Since age is not a barrier, the most promising young talents from across the globe are rushing to enroll. Dmitri warns that if any of these high-profile children are harmed, it would trigger a massive global war. Knowing the stakes, Ivan directly asks what his specific role is in this dangerous situation. The request is simple: protect these legendary kids for 3 years without letting a single hair on their heads get harmed. Ivan cannot believe how convoluted this post-war world has suddenly become. Instead of a peaceful ending, he is dealing with terrible politics and a sudden high-stakes academy setting. A sudden realization strikes the veteran as his eyes glow with pure shock. He remembers a critical piece of lore that changes everything about this mission. Ivan slams his hands down in utter disbelief as a crimson aura of raw pressure explodes from his body. A deep curse escapes his lips while the heavy wooden desk begins to splinter under his massive strength. He realizes with absolute shock that his 30 years of bloody warfare was nothing more than an academy story prologue. Dmitri trembles in pure terror as the terrifying veteran radiates an overwhelming pressure that fills the entire room. Decades of suffering on the front lines flashes through his mind as he processes this ridiculous twist of fate. His fist punches straight through the wood as a cold resolve begins to take shape inside his heart. Grinning through his anger, he decides that he will drag this insane world to its true ending no matter what. Accepting the royal mission, he pledges to finally find a path back home to his original life as Kim Sun-woo. Meanwhile, a beautifully written letter sits on a desk addressing him by his old wartime alias Vanka. The message recalls their shared past when they struggled together to rebuild the Grand Palace Gardens. A mysterious silver-haired princess gazes out as she warns him that a brutal new winter is fast approaching. Her delicate pale hand gently touches the green leaves as she longs for his silent presence. The royal letter reveals how much the princess deeply misses her most trusted legendary woodcutter. She promises to repay her debt threefold or even trade their precious friendship to see him again. Sitting in her dark study, she vows to pay with their memories if that is what it takes to bring him back. Ivan finishes reading the royal letter and realizes he must protect the academy kids to finally go home. Keeping the hero party children safe for 3 years is his final ticket back to his original world. The veteran asks who will arrive first and freezes when he hears the name of his old ally Einar. He remembers Einar as a wild berserker who wielded massive axes like an absolute lunatic in battle. The first student heading to the academy is the daughter of this legendary conqueror, cheered on by his rowdy kingdom. Instead of a terrifying weapon, this legendary berserker daughter carries a massive instrument case on her back. Aricetus is determined to prove everyone wrong by studying orchestral music at the prestigious university. Just 2 days after her grand send-off, the train carrying the young heir is suddenly derailed in a fiery explosion. Ivan demands to know why Dmitri is so absolutely certain a train attack is about to happen. Dmitri grimly replies that such dramatic incidents are simply standard events for a classic academy story. In classic fantasy tales, the legendary champions always defeat the Dark Lord with the help of reformed allies. The veteran tries to recall the light novel tropes from the modern book he burned 3 decades ago. Arriving at the border station, Ivan prepares for the highly predictable school train attack. Checking his watch at 9 o'clock, he calculates the exact moment the target train will pull into the station. This border stop serves as the perfect target because any incident here will immediately spark a global war. Standing up with cold focus, the lone soldier decides to handle this threat without requesting any official backup. Scanning the crowd, his legendary senses instantly lock onto a suspicious traveler waiting on a bench. Ivan spots a nervous vendor smoking on an empty platform, which makes absolutely no sense. He quietly approaches the suspicious traveler waiting on the bench and catches him completely off guard. Pressing a cold barrel against the suspect, the veteran soldier demands absolute silence. The fake vendors instantly shout in panic, revealing they can somehow see through the dark layout. Testing his target one last time, Ivan demands to know where their loyalty truly lies. Receiving only stammering lies instead of a proper code, the veteran eliminates the threat in a flash. Analyzing their hesitation, he realizes these amateur spies lack the discipline of elite royal agents. Trapped in a corner, the panicked enemies desperately draw their weapons and scream to open fire. Moving like a shadow, Ivan easily dodges their sloppy aim as his eyes glow with lethal precision. The amateur gunners pull their weapons only for a blinding flash of steel to cut through the hallway. Ivan strikes with terrifying speed as he completely dominates the battlefield. His glowing gaze reveals that these sloppy rookies have never faced a true legendary powerhouse. Screaming in agony, the wounded scout looks up at the towering soldier, who calmly warns him about bleeding out. Demanding answers, the veteran soldier watches the petrified spy beg for mercy. Offering a desperate deal, the scout tries to bargain by betraying his own captain. The trembling prisoner babbles about a train carrying valuable gold bullion to the kingdom. Hoping for mercy, the spy swears he told no lies, but Ivan instantly spots a massive contradiction. With a final swift stroke, the veteran declares that the part about being useful was a complete lie. With only 7 minutes left, the expert cleanup specialist swiftly wipes away the bloody battlefield. The platform falls completely silent with 2 full minutes remaining before the target train arrives. Deep inside the royal palace, the military high command reports that Ivan predicted the exact details of the attack. Despite having no secret informants for the past 4 years, the legendary veteran remains steps ahead of everyone. From her luxurious study, the iron-blooded princess orders a complete surveillance log on his every movement. She remembers his absolute certainty as the target train speeds across a snowy mountain bridge in the distance. An unseen enemy prepares to press the detonator as a saboteur dashes through the frozen winter wilderness. Inside the passenger car, the red-haired daughter of the legendary berserker sits peacefully waiting for her new life. This predictable train attack is nothing more than a standard tutorial designed to test the academy students. With a single press of a button, the ruthless leader seals the fate of the oncoming royal transport. Ivan lets the blast occur because the young protagonist must face this trial to awaken her true potential. The greedy mastermind laughs in triumph as he orders his bandit crew to scavenge the burning wreckage. Dashing through the freezing snowstorm, the veteran moves to eliminate the hidden masterminds behind this plot. Operating in the shadows, the ultimate cleaner aims his weapon with absolute lethal precision. Standing over the burning metal, the celebrating thieves plan to melt down the stolen imperial gold. A sudden sniper round cuts through the freezing air to shatter their celebration in a single instant. The bandits panic at the sudden sound of gunfire, proving how incredibly weak they truly are. They stare in terror at the lone soldier standing before them as he coldly asks for their leader. Panicked bandits raise their weapons and scream to open fire on the intruder. Ivan activates his legendary perception to easily read the glowing line of fire from their weapons. Every single bullet trajectory becomes fully visible because amateur shooters cannot mask their bloodlust. While the hero party avoided firearms, the elite extermination unit carried pistols for a very specific reason. They used simple bullets to instantly gauge enemy strength and swiftly dispose of the weak. An enraged bandit lunges forward with his blade only to meet the cold gaze of a true monster. The desperate bandit leader swings his blade only for the cold hands of a true monster to instantly catch his arm. Ivan delivers a devastating blow that slams the helpless thug straight into the frozen earth with cratering force. The broken leader groans in agony as the silent veteran slowly approaches like an inescapable shadow. The bleeding thief foolishly threatens to remember his face only for Ivan to coldly reply that it is a great relief. Realizing this thug is actually the tutorial boss meant for the hero, Ivan decides to keep him alive for the story. Unsheathing his sharp blade, the veteran promises to introduce him to a world of endless pain without leaving a scar. Far away in the frozen north, the fierce daughter of Einar furiously warns her father not to follow her to the academy. Essedis storms out of the tribal hall with her heavy instrument case, leaving the legendary Berserker King stunned. An absolutely ridiculous plan strikes the Giant King as he immediately gathers his entire army of warriors to follow her. King Einar roars to find a stealthy guardian who can protect his daughter without ever being spotted. These legendary warriors were once bloodthirsty conquerors before uniting under the flag of brotherhood. Realizing his daughter knows their faces, the Giant King asks for volunteers willing to chase the train on foot. This unstoppable force of nature is known across the northern lands as the elite Huskarls. The king then drops a massive bombshell by asking who among these wild warriors is confident in a written exam. Terrified by the concept of studying, the legendary berserkers sweat in sheer panic and prepare to accept death instead. A single brave soul named Mort Eriksson steps forward to volunteer for this terrifying academic challenge. Moved to tears of pride, the king officially commands his new student warrior to guard the princess with his life. 2 months before the disaster, a legendary northern warrior secretly infiltrates the prestigious academy. Unexpectedly, this wild giant passes the entrance exam with flying colors to join the physical education department. Of course, his written exam is an absolute disaster as he struggles with the most basic academic questions. The elite examiners stare in absolute disbelief at the muscle-bound beast who somehow managed to survive. He only passes because he shatters every single athletic record in the academy history with his monstrous stamina. Driven by sheer loyalty, this unstoppable Huskarl sprints behind the train for 2 full days without a single second of rest. Roaring into the cold wind, he vows to annihilate any foolish bandits who dare to lay a finger on his young princess. Inside the derailed carriage, the young princess groans in pain as she struggles to rise from the dusty wreckage. Shaking off the impact, she instantly realizes that ruthless bandits have targeted her royal transport. Her mind races in panic, remembering how she strictly forbade any royal guards from following her to the academy. Sifting through the dark debris, her eyes suddenly lock onto her precious instrument case. Hugging the massive violin, she sighs in relief that her beloved companion survived the violent crash. A sudden terrifying sound echoes through the shattered carriage to cut her brief relief short. The carriage door is suddenly blasted open with a deafening crash as the princess screams in sheer terror. Clinging tightly to her precious instrument, she trembles as cold fear grips her heart. A heavy hand grips the cracked frame as a sickening laughter echoes through the smoky compartment. Menacing bandits step inside with wicked grins, instantly targeting the defenseless girl. Back at the tracks, the broken bandit leader begs the veteran soldier to simply end his misery. Pinning him down with a heavy boot, Ivan calmly assures the thief that death is not an option today. Raising his wicked axe, the ultimate cleaner prepares to execute some very brutal battlefield surgery. A blood-curdling scream echoes across the snowy wilderness as Ivan slices through the flesh with absolute precision. Pulling out a glowing flask of green liquid, the veteran ignores his target, begging for mercy. The pure agony of the direct application makes the thief howl in absolute torment. Frontline soldiers quickly learned that the only thing worse than the enemy was the agonizing burn of healing potions. Having survived countless wars, Ivan understands this excruciating torture better than anyone else. Decades ago, in a royal infirmary, a younger Ivan begged the medics to amputate his arm instead. The legendary soldier screamed in sheer desperation as the sadistic treatment melted his senses. After enduring that nightmare, Ivan vowed to never get injured again, just to avoid those terrifying potions. This cursed medicine compresses weeks of excruciating healing pain into a single agonizing second. Ivan and his elite comrades quickly realized this terrifying side effect had a much darker utility. By healing and interrogating targets repeatedly, they created the ultimate torture method and perfect truth serum. Pouring the green liquid, Ivan insists the broken leader must survive to play his destined role as a tutorial boss. The crying bandit cannot even recall who ordered the ambush, proving he is nothing more than a mindless puppet. The veteran immediately suspects a powerful cognitive impairment spell was placed on the captive mind. Suddenly, Ivan detects a lethal surge of hostility as a new threat locks onto his position. Tracking the glowing line of fire, the ultimate cleaner calculates the exact trajectory of an oncoming strike. A massive projectile hurtles through the freezing air, aiming directly to crush his entire face. The devastating projectile obliterates the earth as the veteran moves with effortless grace to dodge the impact. Ivan realizes his standard firearms will be completely useless against a monster of this sheer scale. A relentless barrage of massive boulders rains down, carrying enough force to shatter entire mountains. Explosions tear through the snow, but the legendary cleanup specialist emerges from the smoke entirely unscathed. Ivan realizes this hidden foe knows how to mask their killing intent and coldly demands they show their face. Heavy footsteps echo through the snow as a towering warrior enveloped in a burning red aura steps onto the tracks. The massive warrior glares with pure rage, accusing the veteran of foolishly harming his beloved nephew. Looking down at his bleeding hostage, Ivan realizes he misjudged the true identity of the tutorial boss. Drawing his twin battle axes, the ultimate cleaner prepares to face the real leader of this bandit raid. The enraged giant unleashes a colossal swing that shatters the frozen earth in a single devastating strike. Surprised by the incredible speed of his opponent, the master bandit struggles to land a clean blow on the veteran. Clashing steel rings out across the snowy valley as Ivan wonders if his calculations for this tutorial were wrong. With every high-level strike, the cleanup specialist suspects a powerful mastermind is pulling the strings from the shadows. Sparks fly as their legendary weapons clash in a storm of pure steel and raw power. Ivan suddenly remembers that the main protagonist of this world is currently trapped in the train. The giant warrior roars in desperation to save his beloved niece from the impending disaster. Inside the ruined wreckage, the vile scavengers surround the defenseless princess with sinister smiles. A sudden brutal strike shatters the jaw of a cocky thief as the young princess reveals her true colors. She swings her heavy instrument like a deadly club to instantly send her attackers flying through the air. Tears stream down her face as she furiously blames the terrifying thugs for scratching her precious violin. These foolish bandits forgot that she is the direct descendant of the legendary Northern Slaughterer. Grieving over her damaged companion, she prepares to unleash a wave of absolute carnage upon the remaining thieves. Terrified bandits scream in absolute panic, warning their comrades to run for their lives. The young princess swings her heavy instrument like a deadly warhammer to crush her targets. At this exact moment, the strongest music student on Earth is officially unleashed upon the battlefield. Desperate cries for help echo through the ruined carriage as Ivan watches the chaos unfold from afar. A battered bandit flies upside down through the sky after receiving a monstrous strike from the princess. The retreating thieves warn everyone that she is insane as the two legendary warriors pause their clash. Suddenly, the giant northern warrior panics and demands to know if his beloved princess is safe. Ivan instantly realizes that his tortured captive was never the young princess he was supposed to protect. According to the third story cliché, a train robbery in this world always guarantees a powerful helper will arrive. Mistaking the veteran cleaner for a villain, the giant warrior accuses him of being in league with the bandits. Ivan calmly explains that the colossal giant is suffering from a massive misunderstanding. The terrifying healing potion interrogation method is infamous even among elite military officers. Upon learning that the veteran was simply interrogating the suspect, the giant immediately calms down. A sudden chilling presence causes the massive warrior to freeze in absolute shock. Surrounded by ruins, the legendary princess is enveloped in a terrifying aura of absolute destruction. The massive northern warrior runs forward, crying tears of joy as he finally finds his beloved princess safe and sound. Watching the scene from afar, Ivan realizes he met the young royal target 7 long years ago. Back then she was merely a little child, but there is a chance she might still recognize his face. Knowing the princess is safe with her powerful escort, the veteran cleaner decides it is best to avoid any recognition. Sensing a sudden shift in the wind, the princess looks up only to find that the mysterious savior has vanished. The giant warrior silently reflects on the incredibly precise and lethal fighting style he just witnessed on the battlefield. The terrifying axe techniques used by the stranger perfectly mirror the elite style of his old comrade Einar. Piecing the clues together, he realizes only one legendary hero candidate could possess such godlike martial prowess. Curiously, the massive warrior asks his niece if she still remembers a man named Ivan. Walking down the sunset tracks, the princess fondly recalls her childhood savior as a truly kind and gentle soul. Although reports claim the legendary warrior perished 2 years ago, her uncle suspects he simply grew a thick beard. Far away from the ruins, Ivan sighs deeply as he rides the train, contemplating a very exhausting and unpaid mission. With the dangerous princess safely secured inside the academy, the first major tutorial mission is officially a success. Sunlight bathes the massive academy sanctuary as peace temporarily returns to this chaotic fantasy world. Inside his quiet office, the principal reviews the incoming files of other legendary hero descendants heading his way. Several powerful players are already moving across the capital as the grand narrative begins to unfold. Ivan calculates his remaining duties, hoping that surviving 2 more train attacks will finally complete this tutorial. Pensively drafting a bucket list of Earth foods he longs to eat, the veteran scratches out his initial cravings. His ultimate desire is a classic plate of spicy street food prepared exactly like the old-school snack bars. Deeply yearning for his long-lost home, the weary cleaner is suddenly interrupted by a faint voice from the window. Ivan whips his head around in sheer shock to find a cheerful teenage orphan hanging outside his office window. The cheeky girl casually crawls inside as the bewildered veteran demands to know how she scaled the building. Scaling a vertical 3-story stone wall is apparently just another casual day for the students of this orphanage. Escorting the mischievous girl back to safety, Ivan can only sigh at the absolute chaos of his new daily life. The children love playing a high-stakes game of sneaking past their mysterious new director. Even the stealthiest sneak attacks fail as Ivan effortlessly catches projectiles without even turning his head. No hiding spot is safe from the legendary veteran who locates every single runaway child instantly. Despite his intimidating presence, Ivan gently hoists the kids up and acts as their ultimate playmate. The retired soldier hopes these stealth games will prepare the young orphans to survive in a brutal world. Ivan truly believes he has finally secured a peaceful life of freedom within the quiet academy walls. On a stormy night, a hostage tied to a chair desperately warns her captors about the wrath of her director. Confused by her bizarre warnings, the brutal thugs demand to know where she learned to mask her presence. The hostage confidently declares that the legendary Ivan Petrovich is her personal protector, leaving her captors utterly baffled. The brutal thugs burst into mocking laughter, since those are the most common names in the entire kingdom. Their mockery is suddenly cut short as a terrifying presence looms right behind them, demanding to hear that name again. The crying captive looks up with relief as a dark figure enveloped in a murderous red aura steps into the light. Standing tall in the dark, Ivan prepares for action as his quiet civilian life is officially interrupted once more. Panicked orphanage staff inform the retired soldier that one of his young charges has just been kidnapped. Examining a left-behind uniform, the legendary cleaner notices a distinct cross-shaped handprint left by a hostile faction. Ivan instantly recognizes the mark of the one dangerous person he wanted to avoid at all costs in this new life. This chilling handprint represents his former master and the ruthless creator of the elite extermination squad. Far away in the shadows, a mysterious woman smirks with anticipation at the thought of her retired subordinate. The shadowy mastermind has been secretly building an elite assassination squad behind the scenes to hunt her targets. Back on the frozen tracks, the towering warrior unleashes another terrifying swing of his massive axe. Ivan barely deflects the monstrous blow as the sheer force of the impact shatters the solid ice below them. The legendary cleaner narrows his eyes in disbelief, realizing this situation is spiraling completely out of control. This mysterious opponent possesses a level of raw power that defies all logic for a common tutorial bandit. Spinning his twin axes with expert precision, Ivan blocks the giant in a blinding storm of pure steel. The veteran specialist struggles to comprehend how such a high-level threat could appear so early in this world. Sparks erupt continuously as their weapons collide, proving a sinister mastermind must be orchestrating this raid. Ivan suddenly remembers that the essential princess and future party member is currently trapped inside the wreckage. The desperate uncle roars with absolute fury, determined to carve a path through the legendary cleaner to save her. Meanwhile, inside the dark ruined carriage, a terrified young girl clings to her violin as bandits slowly close in. The vile scavengers smirk with sinister grins, thinking they have just cornered a completely defenseless hostage. A foolish thief barely comments on her beauty before a brutal violin strike shatters his face completely. She swings her heavy instrument like a deadly war hammer to easily send her attackers flying through the air. The remaining thugs tremble in pure horror as the young girl gently holds her damaged instrument with shaking hands. Tears stream down her face as she furiously mourns a 2-year-old violin named Clanky. These pathetic bandits forgot that she is the direct descendant of the legendary Northern Slaughterer Einar. Grieving over her damaged companion, she prepares to unleash a wave of absolute carnage upon the remaining thieves. Terrified bandits scream in absolute panic, warning their comrades to run for their lives. With glowing red eyes, the strongest music student on Earth officially leaps into action to seek her revenge. Desperate cries for help echo through the ruined carriage as Ivan watches the chaos unfold from afar. A battered bandit flies upside down through the sky after receiving a monstrous strike from the young girl. The retreating thieves warn everyone that she is insane as the two legendary warriors pause their intense clash. Suddenly the giant northern warrior panics and demands to know if his beloved princess is safe. Our hulking warrior suddenly pauses mid-clash as a bizarre realization strikes his mind. Ivan instantly remembers the classic rule of this world where every major crisis brings a powerful helper. Mistaking the veteran for a villain, the giant demands to know if Ivan is allied with the bandits. Pointing his massive weapon, the angry giant accuses the cleaner of assisting the enemy with a suspicious potion. In reality, pouring a recovery drink on a half-dead captive is a classic interrogation tactic from his old unit. Upon hearing that the terrifying potion trick was just to extract info, the giant immediately calms down. A sudden chilling presence causes the massive warrior to freeze in absolute shock. Tears of relief stream down his face as the uncle rushes to hug his beloved niece in the middle of the ruins. Watching them from a distance, Ivan recalls his brief encounter with the young royal target 7 long years ago. Back then she was merely a helpless child, but a lingering instinct warns him that she might still recognize his face. Seeing that she is perfectly safe with her powerhouse guardian, the retired soldier prepares to slip away undetected. Sensing a mysterious gaze, the young girl suddenly glances over but only catches a glimpse of the shifting shadows. Deciding it is best to keep his identity a secret, the legendary cleaner vanishes into the rising smoke. A thoughtful expression washes over the giant as he contemplates the incredibly precise aura left behind. The colossal northern warrior instantly recognizes the highly lethal Krasilov special operations combat style. He realizes the mysterious stranger wields his battle axe in a way that perfectly mirrors his old comrade Einar. Only one legendary hero candidate in the entire world could possess such terrifyingly precise martial prowess. Curiously, the massive warrior asks his cheerful niece if she still remembers a man named Ivan. Walking down the sunset tracks, the princess fondly recalls her childhood savior as a truly kind and gentle soul. Although reports claim the legendary warrior perished, her uncle suspects he simply grew a thick beard to hide. Far away from the ruins, Ivan sighs deeply as he rides the train, contemplating a very exhausting and unpaid mission. With the dangerous princess safely secured inside the academy, the first major tutorial mission is a success. Sunlight bathes the massive academy sanctuary as peace temporarily returns to this chaotic fantasy world. Inside his quiet office, Ivan reviews the incoming files of other legendary hero descendants heading his way. Several powerful players are already moving across the capital as the grand narrative begins to unfold. The veteran cleaner carefully tracks their locations to ensure they do not disrupt his peaceful sanctuary. Ivan calculates his remaining duties, hoping that surviving 2 more train attacks will finally complete this tutorial. Pensively drafting a bucket list of earth foods he longs to eat, the veteran scratches out his initial cravings. Ivan pens a detailed bucket list of earth foods, hoping to taste his favorite spicy street snack once again. He specifically craves the traditional school snack bar style, avoiding any modern franchise versions. Deeply yearning for his long-lost home, the weary cleaner is suddenly interrupted by a faint voice from the window. Turning around in sheer shock, the veteran finds a cheerful teenage orphan hanging outside his office window. The cheeky girl casually crawls inside as the bewildered veteran demands to know how she scaled the building. Climbing a vertical 3-story stone wall is apparently just another casual day for the students of this orphanage. Escorting the mischievous girl back to safety, Ivan can only sigh at the absolute chaos of his new daily life. Orphanage children love playing a high-stakes game of sneaking past their mysterious new director without being caught. Even the stealthiest sneak attacks fail as Ivan senses the incoming projectile long before it can strike. Our legendary cleaner effortlessly catches the fast-moving object without even turning his head to look at them. No hiding spot is safe from the legendary veteran, who locates every single runaway child instantly. Ivan looms over a hidden orphan like an absolute monster after instantly locating his secret hiding spot. Gently hoisting the startled kid up, the veteran director acts as the ultimate protector. Carrying the child on his shoulders, the legendary soldier proves to be their favorite playmate. Ivan hopes these stealth games will prepare the young orphans to survive in a brutal world. The veteran believes he has finally secured a peaceful life of freedom until a stormy night changes everything. A hostage tied to a chair desperately warns her captors about the wrath of her director. Confused by her bizarre warnings, the thugs demand to know where she learned to mask her presence. The hostage confidently declares that the legendary Ivan Petrovich is her protector. Stunned silence fills the room as the kidnappers process the name of her mysterious boss. The brutal thugs burst into mocking laughter since those are the most common names in the entire kingdom. Their mockery is suddenly cut short as a terrifying presence looms right behind them. Standing in the shadows, a dark figure demands to hear that name again. The terrified young hostage trembles as she desperately calls out for her powerful protector. A menacing figure looms over the captive girl, revealing the chilling mark of a dangerous former master. Back at the sanctuary, Ivan Petrovich stands in silent fury as he holds the remnants of her clothes. Distraught orphanage staff tearfully report the sudden abduction of the innocent young girl. The legendary cleaner instantly recognizes the distinct cross-shaped print stamped onto the fabric. Realizing his peaceful life must wait, the battle-hardened veteran prepares to hunt down his past. This glowing mark represents an absolute summons from the ruthless creator of his former unit. The shadowy mastermind gently pats the terrified child as she prepares to execute his sinister plot. She smiles with pure malice upon realizing her former subordinate tried to escape his bloody past. The elite leader has already unleashed her deadly shadow blade Enrique to initiate the hunt. Armed guards patrol the damp sewers, completely unaware that the legendary cleaner has arrived. Locating the hidden dungeon takes Ivan less than 3 hours as he sneaks into the darkness. Legendary monuments stand tall in the central garden to honor the heroes of the old war. The city fell into absolute chaos when the statue of the nameless hero mysteriously vanished overnight. Citizens whispered in disbelief that someone could steal an entire monument without leaving a single trace. Enrique claims the sole right to mourn the fallen heroes as a key member of the legendary party. Ivan stands before the massive statue, realizing the disbandment of their old unit holds a darker truth. The veteran inspects a newly discovered inscription signed by both the princess and a rogue named Enrique. Showing respect to his fallen comrades, Ivan bows his head in silent tribute. He reminds himself that mourning is useless since he will soon join their ranks on the battlefield. Suddenly, a heavy stone passage grindingly slides open directly beneath the monument of the nameless hero. Sensing a familiar presence, Ivan warily steps forward into the dark opening. Deep underground, a lavishly decorated secret chamber glows with warm light. A familiar voice echoes through the silence, confirming that he still remembers their past bond. Sitting comfortably in the shadows, a mysterious woman notes that 7 long years have passed since their last meeting. The rogue of the legendary party, Enrique Sarajevica, mockingly welcomes her little Ivan. Long ago she betrayed her own sire to end a vampire rampage before taking countless lives as a lethal assassin. The infamous Grandmaster Shadowblade Enrique mockingly offers her guest a warm drink. Ivan calmly declines the beverage with a quick remark about his preference for iced drinks. Sparing no time for idle chat, the veteran demands to know the exact location of the child. Enrique mockingly smiles as the veteran silently reaches for his hidden blade beneath the table. The deadly master warns him about revealing hostility while confirming the hostage is still safe. A terrifying surge of bloodlust wraps around the veteran like a massive spectral serpent. With her overwhelming pressure unleashed, the assassin demands to know his true scheme. She suspects the retired cleaner is secretly raising a deadly unit of elite young soldiers. The lethal Shadowblade takes his intense hostility as a direct declaration of war and acts deeply offended. She internally mocks his outdated beard disguise while sweating under his absolute refusal to back down. Ivan silently calculates how much critical information he should share with his former comrade. For years after the Demon King fell, the split kingdom of Krasilov remains locked in a fierce power struggle. An aggressive crown prince pushes for external conflict while Princess Elizaveta fights for internal peace. To protect key figures enrolling in the academy, the princess secretly deployed her fabled dead agent. Sensing her suspicion, the legendary cleaner wonders if she has uncovered his hidden objective. A dark realization hits Ivan as he begins to suspect that his old ally might no longer serve the princess. The possibility of Enrique joining forces with the ambitious crown prince sends a chill through his mind. Their immense battle spirits clash in the silent room as both legendary warriors prepare for the worst. Attempting a peaceful resolution, the veteran cleaner shifts the conversation to her mysterious new disciple. The Shadowblade smiles with dangerous amusement as Ivan warns that any harm to her student will ruin the nation. Ivan calmly lays down his bluff, but the assassin completely misinterprets his warning as a direct threat. While the veteran hopes his message was clear, the legendary rogue slams the table in absolute fury. Enrique immediately summons her hidden student to step into the chamber and face the veteran head-on. A cheerful young human girl enters the lavish room and politely introduces herself to the legendary cleaner. Shock and confusion wash over the cleaner upon realizing that a lethal vampire assassin has raised a normal human disciple. The bright young girl proudly defends her master, claiming that true humanity is defined by compassion rather than race. This rare display of pure innocence deeply touches the battle-hardened veteran who knows the cruel reality of their world. A massive surge of bloodlust erupts as Enrique vows to obliterate her old comrade if he dares to harm her beloved student. Unsheathing his lethal blade, Ivan prepares to test her true allegiance with their old memories on the line. Ivan demands to know what dark sacrifice Alexander made to secure their treacherous alliance. Confusion washes over Enrique, who genuinely believed the veteran was working alongside their former leader. Our legendary hero sets the record straight by declaring he has never once shared a friendly moment with that tyrant. This heavy tension suddenly deflates as both legendary warriors realize they are on completely different pages. Exhausted by the massive misunderstanding, the Grandmaster collapses into her chair as her disciple giggles. A cheerful disciple playfully teases her flustered master about how well she matches with the rugged veteran. Relieved that a lethal clash was avoided, Ivan relaxes his posture and sighs at the absolute exhaustion of his job. Sipping his warm tea, the tired veteran is glad to have resolved the dangerous standoff without spilling any blood. Deep down, he knows the Grandmaster will personally shield her young disciple from any upcoming dangers of the trial. Witnessing the legendary assassin show genuine affection reveals the deep bond between the teacher and her human student. The Grandmaster curiously questions Ivan about why he is training young orphans in advanced combat and stealth tactics. Leaving the underground sanctuary behind, the veteran begins the long journey back to his orphanage. As the beautiful sunset paints the sky, Priscilla finally musters the courage to speak to her protector. Priscilla tearfully asks her protector if he is preparing to abandon them and leave the orphanage forever. Ivan recalls how his frequent secret meetings with government agents must have sparked her deepest fears. Deep down, the transmigrated veteran secretly writes down a list of modern Korean dishes he desperately misses. The battle-hardened cleaner sits in heavy silence, wondering if the children have somehow perceived his true desire. He quietly admits to himself that he ultimately plans to abandon this fantasy world and return home. Sudden sobbing sounds shatter his train of thought as he looks down in complete surprise. Priscilla completely breaks down, begging her director not to leave them alone in a cruel world once again. A wave of understanding hits the legendary cleaner as he realizes her reckless actions were born from pure desperation. She only infiltrated the city to find work, which accidentally led the thugs to mistake her for a deadly trained spy. Gently wrapping his heavy coat around her trembling shoulders, the veteran comforts the distraught young girl. Although he yearns to escape this world, he knows he cannot simply abandon the innocent lives he has sworn to protect. Sensing the weeping child's raw vulnerability, the legendary soldier prepares to deliver his final decision. He reassures her that he is only heading to St. Yansk University and promises to visit the orphanage frequently. A bright, relieved smile breaks through her tears as his words instantly wash away her deepest anxieties. Gazing at the sanctuary he built, Ivan accepts that it will take at least 3 more years to complete his final mission. Determined to reunite with their beloved guardian, the children discover the upcoming entrance exam for St. Yansk University. They hatch a secret plan to conquer the brutal academy exam without letting their protective director suspect a single thing. An intense fire of determination ignites as every single child of the orphanage enters extreme exam prep mode. Completely unaware of their secret plan, Ivan reviews his reports and notes that his own grand designs are moving smoothly. With the daughters of the legendary berserker and the vampire rogue already secured, his grand collection is almost complete. Now the master cleaner sets his sights on a new target as a steam train thunders across the kingdom. Resting inside the cabin is the legendary hero daughter Isabel, whose blade will soon cross paths with the veteran.